everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So on today, I would love to talk about some of my absolute favorite Christmas movies. They are not in any particular order. They are just movies that I've absolutely have fallen in love with since I was young, and new things that I've seen in the past couple of years. But so here we go and get into it. Home Alone 1 and 2. Home Alone is one of those Christmas classics that you can literally watch for me all year. Both 1 and 2, and I just felt like, with those, they should have just left it alone. That's just my personal opinion because that goes down in history for me. Next is White Christmas. Now that is way before my time. I love old movies. I love things that are nostalgic. I love things that are heartwarming. I really love things that are just simply and wonderfully put together, and it just immediately puts you in the Christmas spirit and the Christmas mood. Miracle on 34th Street. And it's just one of those timeless classics that you don't want to put out of your mind. It always stays with you, a special place in your mind and in your heart. And I just love it. From a little girl and thinking about how the Macy's Parade, is going all the way back then, even before that. And it's just really a masterpiece to watch and behold. So the Polar Express, oh my gosh, I'm thinking about it now. My nephew he's 19 now, will be 20 in March of next year. And to think about that, came around 2004 or 5. He was about maybe 1 or 2 years old because he was loved watching it with the family, and just those amazing feelings, and the singing and the dancing, the graphics of it, it just engulfs you. And I mean, Tim Allen, 1, 2, and 3, I love them all. I know there's probably one that's on Netflix that just came out this year. It's called, The Causes or something. I've seen about it, but I've never watched it. So it's funny and it's enjoyable. And Tim Allen, being a natural comedian, he just makes the whole thing just great from beginning to end. And Christmas with the Cranks, that's another one that he did. He did this with Jamie Lee Curtis, and that is absolutely funny. It's another comedy. It's so silly, so goofy. Jingle All the Way, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and goofy, and you're seeing all the interactions with trying to get the kids toys. Doesn't that remind you how Black Friday is, how people are now always scrabbling and fighting and doing the most, trying to get a toy or the special gift that's going on clearance or markdowns? Wonderful life. And looking at my dad is 65 years old, and I can tell you, when that comes on TV, my dad's eyes widen up and he gets so teary-eyed and gets emotional, and I love seeing him happy because that is something that he has been watching for years. And for that to come on TV, it's like the whole house gets quiet. Nobody sees anything, and all of us come together and watch it because, I really have come to really liking it and enjoying it. On Christmas, I am a fan of kids movies. I am not ashamed and I'm just like my dad. My dad has always been a fan of Charlie Brown. That was out when he was a kid. So we literally wait when it comes on TV. We're just binge watching it. The Muppets Christmas Carol. I mean, for anyone that's seen that and you still love it till now, I mean, hey, you're my friend. And I remember seeing that, watching it, with my eldest niece. And it's just been something that's been going on for years. And the Muppets being a part of Sesame Street. Sesame Street has been a part of my family's life. The year without a Santa Claus. That is something that, oh my goodness, brings so much smiles and joy and happiness to me. Without having a Santa Claus for a year, or that year in particular, so it would bring a lot of sadness. And so, you definitely don't want that. But Prancer is one that came out probably when I was maybe 4 years old. So this is, definitely around the 80s genre. Still believes in Santa Claus, so she's still young. And, she sees a wounded, reindeer that she believes belong to Santa Claus, and she helps him with the help of a veterinarian and nurses him back to health. So the Nativity Story, that came out around 2005. In the Bible unfold before your eyes in life form, and you're seeing it on the TV, or rather you're seeing it on the big screen. It was just something to witness and behold, like, okay, wow, this is, the reason for the season. And Author Christmas, I know there's at least 2 or 3 out there, but this is the 2011 version of like goofy and doesn't always listen, but he have a good heart and he's trying to, make up for, just messing up and not having his dad, Santa Claus, to be happy with him and trying to fix all the wrongs that he's done. So it's kind of like how we are in life. We make mistakes, but we're always trying to fix it. And if you can't get it done, you're going to go out of your way to find a solution. So the Christmas card. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about that. That's more along Hallmark movies, and I will tell you, I am guilty. I am a huge fan of Hallmark. Christmas card is so amazing, so beautiful, and that's kind of like around the early 2000s as well. It was a single lady writing cards to guys in the military or in the war, in the service, and a guy was so touched and just emotionally drawn to the letter, and then they met in person and they fell in love. So it's just beautiful. It gives you all the feels. Frosty the Snowman. How can we get? We all love Frosty. If you don't, it's okay. But I love literal snowman. So, happy-go-lucky, moment of singing the song and watching the movie. It all entails and just brings you all the feels and happiness that came out in the early 2000s. Now, this is part of Hallmark as well. Mrs. Miracle. Now, Mrs. Miracle, I can't think of her actual name. She was the mother that played in Everybody Loves Raymond. And Mrs. Miracle was like this angel, and she would appear to help people when they had really down on their luck hardships and trials and just going through some really, bad times in their lives. And the first one was about a single dad where he was a widow. Fortunately, his wife had passed, and then he was struggling raising his two boys who were kind of unruly, so it made it hard. And then she came along and assisted him, and then had this lady that she was doing a play at the kids' school, and then they fell in love. So she just kind of helped put his life in order to give him. I think that is what Danny DeVito, Matthew Broderick. It is funny because it kind of reminds me of like Jingle All the Way and just those Christmas, comedy. I'll Be Home for Christmas. Now, this was Jonathan Taylor Thomas from working with Tim Allen on a show in the 90s called Home Improvement, and we've always been watching all the old episodes. So he had some really bad luck hardships, being stranded in the desert with no money, trying to hurry and get home for Christmas with only a few days left. So it's just like a trek journey of his life trying to get home for Christmas and be there with the family. So Hallmark's the most wonderful time of the year. If you guys remember Fonz, from Happy Days, he is in that movie, so he plays an uncle with his niece. I think an uncle with his niece, living with his niece or visiting his niece and nephew. For the holidays, and they go to pick him up from the airport, and he helps this stranger and bring the stranger to the house, and just through a series of events, he really starts to have feelings for her, and then eventually she starts to have feelings for him, and then they wind up together. So it is so just, oh my goodness, it just gives you the feels and the emotion. It's about an aunt that has taken in her niece and nephew as the mother. Her sister struggled with addiction, so she was always in and out of the hospital, overdosing and just having problems, really struggling with drugs. And along with that, she took the kids because they were the next of kin to her, and she struggled trying to get her own life together, also trying to assist her sister's kids with this being her brand new life because she's assisting and helping her family. And a kind stranger just helps her along the way to get her life in order as she's taking on a new responsibility. So it's beautiful. A Grandpa for Christmas. Now that is a Hallmark movie, and I haven't seen that in a while, but I have always remembered it. I know it's Ernest Borgnine or Borgnine, if I'm not saying his name correctly, forgive me. But he was like a next door neighbor or something, I think. And this little girl just literally just fell in love with him, just they wanted the grandpa, needed the grandpa, and he just became a part of their lives. She became part of his life, and it's just like a healthy mixture of how strangers can become family. And isn't that how real life works a lot of times? Wonderland. Hallmark's Winter Wonderland, too competitive. co-workers are trying to do this amazing, beautiful display and trying to get a raise, or I think they're trying to get a bonus, or maybe get another position, a high position in the job. And so you got the girl, then that had been there for a while. I think it was the owner's nephew or son that came in, and they're just kind of butting heads. But in the butting heads, they kind of really start liking each other, and then start working more together instead of against each other. And guess what? They fall in love. Always in love with it. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And you know that song is still rings and sings in our ears for years and for years to come. And loving it on TV. Like I said, this is something else that my dad is super glued to the TV. It's something that he has remembered from being a child. So I have already loved instantly for years. Santa Claus is coming to town. That is another great classic that is along like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You know, just the anticipation, the wonder, the merriment, the glorious and happiest feelings of knowing, okay, he's coming. I love it. This Hallmark classic is called A Crown for Christmas. Now, this is involving Danica McKellar. So I forgot exactly where she was working. And she was like the oldest sibling trying to assist and take care of her family. So she had an opportunity to go and work in a castle, and then she fortunately ran into like the Duke or the prince, but she didn't know that at first. And it's kind of like the Cinderella story, you know, the unlikely, and he falls in love with her, and the one that you would think that he would marry, you know, the next princess in line, because you know, it's kind of like how the underdog always wins and have victory. So I'm always a fan of that. Okay, and this is my very last and final one, Christmas shoes. And Rob hardcore, you know, workaholic man, and it's a little boy that finds and returns a pair of shoes to assist and help his mom to give her a wonderful gift as she's dealing with a terminal illness. It's just beautiful and heartwarming, and then just grabs you in from the beginning to end. So those are my top Christmas movies. If you found something in there that you like, that you love, that you enjoy, that you know that we bond with, I'm happy about that. If we don't, it's okay. I still love you. See you guys in the very next video. Best of. Bye.